Hi everybody, it's me Farmals here. How you doing? I asked and you answered. I put a poll on my Instagram story asking if you guys wanted to see an updated tutorial for my iron farm. And here we are. Today, I'm going to show you how to build this iron farm. It works in Minecraft Java 1.19 and up. It's insanely simple to build, and it's pretty efficient too. It is my farm, so I guess I'm a little biased, but I consider this the best, simple, efficient iron farm in the entire game right now. If you enjoy the tutorial, if it helps you out, remember to drop a like, subscribe for more videos just like this, and let's go. Let's check this thing out. Let's kick today's tutorial off with the supply chat. Materials for the farm, what do you need? You need these things inside of this chest right here, for the most part, in exact quantities, as long as my numbers are correct. Now, when it comes to the building blocks, you could basically use, like, anything here. As long as this thing isn't going to burn, and as long as it's a solid building block, for the most part, you'll be good. You're also going to need to gather up these materials right here. The type of sign doesn't matter, and technically, when it comes to the torches, you could replace those for some kind of light block. For this build, you will also need exactly 1 zombie, a name tag, and 3 villagers. We're also going to need a handful of water sources for this farm, so make sure you have a water bucket too. Now, some totally optional things that might make your life a little bit easier inside of this chest. There are a lot of different routes that you could go when it comes to transporting your villagers around, but in my opinion, the workstations are king. It's the best option. If you can't find a name tag anywhere in your world, don't worry, you technically have another option. You could use a zombie that picks up an item. If you're going to go that route, you'll need that specific type of zombie, and you'll need an item for that zombie to hold. 2 more things that might help your building process this time. Extra spare building blocks, we're going to place stuff down and remove them, so maybe consider that. And also, maybe consider having an extra trap door or 2 to help get mobs into their chambers. I never technically made a tutorial in 1.18 for this iron farm because I wanted to test it. 1.18 changed a lot, including a lot about this farm. In my survival world, I decided to build my iron farm up on top of a mountain. Thought it would be pretty cool. For some reason, unfortunately, I found out that this iron farm, the rates aren't the same up on top of a mountain. I really wish I could tell you why it's like this, but it seems like if you build this farm too high up in your world, the rates are significantly diminished, and that's not good. From all of my testing with this farm in 1.18 and now 1.19, the best spot to build this thing is like 12 or so blocks up above the ground, as long as the ground isn't on top of a mountain. So this farm is built at like Y85 or so right here, and that's like perfect. The rates of this farm are pretty good here. Aside from that, biome doesn't matter at all. Also, don't set this farm up too close to other villagers or villages, like your trading hall. Once you pick that perfect location for the iron farm, it's time to do the build. And so, the build. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're building this inside of your normal survival world. I'm building it inside of my tutorial world. No matter what, first things first, we need to go 12 or so blocks up above the ground. Anything less, and you risk iron golems starting to spawn on the surface. Anything more, and I mean, you're just doing more work than you have to. Start by getting off of the ground a little bit, then pick a center of your farm. For me, this block right here is going to be the center. Off the center, I'm going to do temporary block, temporary block, temporary block. Then I'm going to go ahead and do 3 more blocks right here, 3 more blocks over here, and then 3 more blocks over here. Now these blocks absolutely 100% cannot be glass blocks, and 100% can't be a non-solid block too. So like a slab or a staircase, don't do it. It'll mess with the villager's pathfinding. After this, it's time to set up villager rooms. Now, when it comes to these villager rooms and the blocks that you're going to use here, completely your call. You could use solid blocks like mud bricks. You could use maybe like stone or something. Don't use wood. Wood will burn. But glass is back on the table. This is absolutely fine for this part of the build. There seems to be problems with glass being on the floor and villager pathfinding. Now, when you're setting up these walls, this time around, I want you to connect these corners right there and fill in this as well. Now, some of these, more specifically these blocks right in here, those are going to be placeholder blocks, but for now, we're going to go ahead and leave them inside of there. Now, these walls need to be 3 blocks high all the way around this thing, and you're going to want to continuously connect all of these walls. Definitely don't forget to fill these blocks in right here in the center too, because if you do forget, then the zombie's going to be able to jump in and take your villagers out. Now, inside of each one of these chambers, we're going to need a bed. These beds need to be placed facing towards the center of the farm. That's where the zombie's going to be. In the center of the farm, we're going to drop a water bucket right there. That's going to keep the zombie grounded and on the ground and also not burning. Finally, for these chambers, before we put the villagers in, light. You need light inside of these chambers, otherwise the zombie can spawn right here and take your villager out. And the villager's gone, and then the farm doesn't work, and you're set. With our 4 mob chambers set up, it's time to move the mobs into this farm. To make that process a little bit easier, what I've done is gone ahead and connected this farm that's up in the air to the ground with a staircase. I recommend making the staircase out of whatever blocks you want, but maybe 2 blocks wide. Making the staircase a little bit wider might help the villagers make their way up the thing. Let's talk about getting the zombie in first. The zombie needs to go in the center one with the water in the bottom. To make your life a little bit easier, I highly recommend building some walls around this thing, just 2 blocks tall on either side. These are going to be temporary, and then what we're going to do is maybe place a couple blocks right there or over there, whichever way your staircase comes from, and then place a trap door, just like that. With a simple mob funnel setup like this, it is going to be insanely easy to get the zombie inside of the chamber. 100% this next part should be done at nighttime. So you've got 2 options here. Easy option is the name tag. If you've got a name tag, get a name tag, put a name on it, and have it in your inventory. If you don't have a name tag, the harder option, but still doable, is finding a zombie that can pick up an item. Basically, what you're going to need to do is hang around on the surface near your farm and wait for zombies to spawn. When they spawn, try and give them an item. All you need to do is like throw a block towards the zombie. Eventually, one of those zombies should be able to pick up the item. That can take some time though. So I recommend just getting a name tag. Eventually, a zombie will spawn. Once that zombie locks onto you, if you have a name tag, let that zombie follow you up your staircase up to the farm. Make sure you go a little bit slow. If it's near daytime, you can try giving that zombie a helmet. If that zombie wears a helmet, then it won't burn in the day. Once you're up at the top of your iron farm, walk into this hallway, get on the other side, and open the trap door. The zombie will try and walk across and fall. Once the zombie falls, use the name tag on the zombie, and you're good to go. You can go ahead and close that trap door to get it to stop jumping. Don't break the trap door quite yet. But absolutely, these blocks right here that we placed down to set this up, those can go away. It's not even close. The easiest way by far to move your villagers into this farm is workstations. Let's start with a villager and a workstation. This villager could come from a village, it doesn't really matter. Villager and workstation. After that, go ahead and place a second workstation down on your staircase somewhere. To make this happen, to make it work, you might need to use a boat to get the villager closer to the staircase. After you place a workstation on your staircase, break the first workstation. Then, after that, you do it again. Place a workstation part way up the staircase, break this workstation, villager loses the job, it looks at you for a little while, and then eventually it should notice that there's another workstation up here. It'll climb up the staircase to that workstation. Then you can go ahead and go up to the top of the thing, or part way up, whatever, and place another workstation. Then go ahead and break that one, give the villager a minute, and it'll just pathfind right up the staircase to the other workstation. Once you've got it to this position right here, it's pretty simple. All you need to do is nudge the villager into the cell, and not fall off the farm. Once your villager is inside of its cell, take the workstation away and do it 2 more times. With 1 villager, 1 bed, and 1 light source inside of each chamber, we are basically good to go. Now, for now, we're going to go ahead and leave these temporary blocks, but eventually we will be pulling those out, and eventually, or now if you'd like, you can pull this trap door out. The staircase going up and down to the farm, unless you need it, you can go ahead and take that away too. Next, we need to set up a spawning area for the iron golems. If you want to know all about iron golem spawning mechanics, then the Everything series episode on iron golem spawning is the perfect episode for you. Essentially, what we're going to need to do though is set up solid blocks that the golem can spawn on that are controlled and contained, so we can move the golems away from the farm faster. The faster you can move the iron golems away from the farm, the better the rates will be. We'll put a platform over the entire top of this farm to keep the villagers safe from things like lightning. It's also pretty convenient and easy to do. You pick a side of this farm, one of the long sides, so either this side or this side. We're gonna go with this side, you can pick the other side. Doesn't really matter. Pick one of the sides and put 3 staircases facing out. Now, it's platform time. We're going to need to take solid building blocks and build a platform all over the top of this farm. We're going to go from the back of the farm over to the front of the farm. I'm going to go ahead and use mud bricks and then packed mud. I think the combination looks quite nice, and it's 1.19y, but you don't have to. You could use stone or, again, any building block that will not burn for this. Go ahead and fill this layer all the way in. Then, eventually, once you've done that, you end up with something that looks like this right here. Not too bad. Next, it's time for the next layer. The next layer is pretty easy to set up. So find the side where you put your staircases, right there, and then go ahead and grab 7 more staircases. We're going to do staircases going across this thing like that. That's going to make this lower section of the platform 3 blocks wide, 7 blocks long. The rest of this thing needs to be raised up even more, so that means even more solid building blocks. Again, I'm going to go with mud and packed mud. It's beautiful, it's perfect, it's 1.19. You go with whatever you want to do. So then, after we finish filling that in, we end up with something that looks like this right here. We're almost there. Basically, the final thing that we need to do up top, aside from like water sources and things like that, are walls. We're going to need walls hanging off the side of this farm. Now, when it comes to these walls, 100%, even though it might look cool, do not connect these to the platform. If you connect it like that, the iron golems will get stuck up top and they can move around on their own, and that's not good. These walls also do not need to connect in the corner. You can go ahead and cut those out right there. Now, these walls on the front side, they need to go over to the staircase and then dip down a little bit like that. Across from this thing, we're going to go ahead and go 3, and then 1 more right there. Remove those 3, and start the wall right there. Then this wall is going to go ahead and go straight across over here. When it comes to the walls, the back side of the farm is different than the front. On the back side, we're going to go ahead and turn that corner, then we're going to go 3 over. So we have 3 right there, then we're going to go up right there, right before the staircase, and then continue the wall thing all the way to the other back corner. When we're done with the walls, we end up with something that looks like this right here. Finally, for the top of this farm, we're going to need signs and water. That's it. You'll need 3 signs. The signs need to be placed on the front of this farm. Pick one of these walls right here, whether it's that one or that one, doesn't really matter, and place a sign. Then if you crouch place a sign on a sign, it'll sit on the sign. Go ahead and do that 2 more times so you end up with signs right there. That's going to stop the water that you're placing at the back of this layer right here from spilling over the edge. Put 3 water sources right down there, and then finally put 7 water sources down here flowing that way. Iron golems can spawn inside of water, and as soon as they spawn inside of this water, they'll start getting moved over, and then eventually pushed off of the platform into the spot. With all this set up top, the final thing that we need to do is set up the way to take the iron golems out. You've got 2 options. Option number 1, connected to the farm. You basically end up with a chest up in the air. You do a ladder up to the chest. You take the iron out of the chest. Option number 2, and the better option for rates, is down on the ground. In this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and set this thing up on the ground. This is what I recommend if you're worried about better rates. Centering the iron golem removal chamber on the ground is insanely easy. We're going to start with the temporary block right there in the middle on this staircase right there. That's what we're going to center it on. We're going to go ahead and take building blocks and build all the way down to the ground. We'll come back and remove these later. Once we're down on the ground, we're going to go ahead and skip 1 block, and then right here we're going to do a chest and a chest. Then we're going to go ahead and remove some of those and do hoppers. We're going to create a 3x3 of hoppers with all of these things strung together going into the chest. This is going to pick up all of the iron from this farm. After that layer, we're going to go ahead and come in with some walls. What type of walls doesn't really matter at all. Any kind of wall that fits your aesthetic. We're going to go ahead and go walls all the way around this thing like that. Then we're going to go ahead and do it 1 more time. Another layer of solid walls. If we do walls above the chest, we won't have any problem opening the chest, so that's pretty cool. Now we have something like this. Look at us, we're doing so good. So now we're going to go ahead and remove a couple more blocks right here and then do another layer of walls. Except this time, this is where we're going to switch things up. Aesthetically, I like glass, so I'm going to put glass there. And then functionally, signs. We need 9 more signs in here. We're going to start by placing signs on one of the walls. It doesn't matter. Then we're going to go ahead and do that crouch place thing again. We need a floor of signs. So floor of signs means like 3x3 of signs in there. Then we're going to go ahead and continue going up with the walls. Now glass panes, totally your choice, doesn't matter at all. What I'm going to go ahead and do is copy that layer 2 more times, except I'm going to skip the signs. We only need 1 layer of signs because these signs are actually going to hold the lava up. If I were to put lava on the floor of this farm, all of the drops would get burned up. But if I put lava right here on the center above this sign, it'll spill down across this whole thing. The iron golems will stand on the hoppers and get burned up. The drops drop at their feet and are picked up right away by this chest. It's pretty cool. So right now we have walls that look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off with 1 final layer of walls around the top. Once I've done all of that, I end up with a 5x5 chamber that is 6 blocks tall with hoppers at the bottom, a chest right there, signs and lava, and then temporary blocks. All of these blocks we're done with. We don't need these anymore. Leaving these blocks here would actually hurt the farm. Go ahead and remove those blocks, and then your iron farm, it's actually like almost done. That's almost everything you need to do. So, the final thing to get this farm up and running is back up here, these temporary blocks. For the iron golems to spawn, we need the villagers to see the zombie. We need 3 villagers to see the zombie more specifically. If we go ahead and remove 1 block, the villager is going to start freaking out. That's good. Remove the other one's going to freak out, and then remove this one. The other one will freak out too. Once our villagers start freaking out, look at that thing. It already spawned an iron golem. That's all you need to do. Now, these villagers need to continuously be able to sleep and continuously be able to panic. Very important here. Again, if you'd like to learn more about iron golem spawning mechanics and the technicalities behind it, I recommend that Everything series episode on iron golem spawning. As long as your villagers can see the zombie, and as long as the villagers can sleep every once in a while, like meaning jump into the bed for a second at nighttime, you're good. Your iron farm will continually run as long as you're in the area. With this cool little removal chamber set up down here on the ground, grabbing your iron is easier than ever. Walk over to the chest, open it up. Every once in a while, you'll have poppies and iron. Let this thing run for a little while, and soon you'll have way more iron than you ever need. If you need even more iron than that, though, for some reason, maybe you're insane. No, I'm kidding. If you need more iron, then consider setting up a couple more of these things around your base. When it comes to troubleshooting this farm, one common problem seems to be the villagers stop moving around for whatever reason. If that is the case for you, try placing a block right here, letting the villager calm down a little bit, and then remove the block again. Eventually, the villagers should move around and start panicking again, and you'll be good to go. Oh, and this block is absolutely horrendous looking here, so let's go ahead and swap that for glass. There we go. The farm, it's fully finished. That's my iron farm, updated for the 1.19 update. I hope you like it. Hopefully it gives you more iron than you ever need. If you enjoyed this tutorial, if it helped you out, consider dropping a like on it. It takes like 1 second, and it does me an immense favor. If you like simple yet efficient designs like this one, then consider subscribing and check out my tutorial playlist. Have a question? Drop it down below or on my subreddit. Have a request? Drop that down below or on my subreddit too. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been me, your boy Waddles. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.